Yo, what's up? This is Holly from the HM Press. As promised, I said I'd do a video blog about the situation that happened at Spring Valley High, um, where Officer Ben Fields assaulted um, the young lady who was in peaceful protest. Um, grabbed her by her neck, dragged her out of her desk, you know, threw her on the ground, threw her across the room. This is a grown man throwing this teenager, this child, still classified as a child. you know, Brutalized her on camera. He got fired for it, but there's a big debate about um, whether he was wrong. They're wrong for firing him. Um, it's just a whole lot of debate going on. And so I bring this situation because I go to my coworker earlier today, and I'm fired up about the situation. If y'all know me, I know I'm be fired up anything like this happen. Um, And I'm like, yo, people got the nerve to say she deserved what happened to her. And my coworker's a down white lady. She's cool. You know, my favorite people there, like I said, we're good friends. Um, but she looks up at me and says she did deserve it. No, honest face, she did deserve it. Now mind you, this lady has a kid, well, two kids actually, two daughters. Um, and she said if my daughter was that disrespectful, you know, I would have beat her ass afterwards. After the officer got done doing that, I would have took my turn. And that's what she looked me in my eye and told me. Now I'm sitting there like just blown. For one, that you, as a woman, would say that she deserved to get beat up by a man. You know, a woman who's also been hit by a man before said this. Um, you know, and she'll be nameless. I would never want to put her business out there like that. Um, but said that she deserved it, and that if her daughters had been that disrespectful, she would have disciplined them afterwards too. Blew my mind. Um, and so, of course, we get into a debate about it, and she comes around to saying a couple things. One, she says she deserved it. She said, her daughters hadn't been disrupting the classes. Second thing, if the girl hadn't been disrupting the class, this would have never happened. Um, she also said that he was wrong, but he shouldn't be fired for it. Talking about the officer. And then two more things she said. The other black people in the footage weren't alarmed by it. They didn't seem rattled or bothered about it. And then last but not least, she said, I wish this whole thing wasn't, I wish the media didn't make it about race. Wish it was more behavior, oriented. They focused on the behaviors and not about the race. And so, of course, I had to go in. Um, but the core thing that I talked about was the racial empathy gap. And it's something big that's in America still, you know. This type of stuff happens to black people all the time. And if you notice on social media, there's always a slew of white people. When Trayvon Martin got killed, they were posting his body like, you know, it's the thing to do. We're proud of this. Look what we did. Posting pictures of this person, this human's body. With this situation, there's people all over the internet. Nigger deserved it. Good. I'm glad we have officers like Ben Fields. And that's the racial empathy gap. There it goes, and I'll explain. Racial empathy gap is basically I don't feel your pain. If I was a white person, I don't feel your pain because you're not white. So it doesn't register with me. I don't feel it. And then the general attitude is, oh well, get over it. Good. Good. They deserved it. But let the same thing happen to a white person. Oh, everybody's gonna. The whole world is global news. The whole world is going. You know, not saying this isn't reaching global attention, but it's gonna be. Oh, it'll be felt. Basically, I read an article about racial empathy gap, and I sent it to her as well when I was, we were going at it, in a friendly way. It wasn't like we weren't. angry at each other, and it was, shared a laugh then, because we're inappropriate people. We laugh at the most inappropriate things. We weren't laughing at this, but we brought Rachel Dolezal on the scenario. We both were like, we don't care what she want to do. She, you know, if you can transform into a man, you transform into a woman. Why can't she still black culture and act like a black woman if she want to? But that was our argument. um, that's what we were able to laugh out. But back to the racial empathy gap. Um, so basically, it was this article by a guy. His name was Jason Silverstein. It's called "I Don't Feel Your Pain." Let me double check that. Um, I Don't Feel Your Pain. It was on Slate.com. And basically, they did an experiment um, to prove how the racial empathy gap works. And this is how, there's a caption from that article. It said, let's do a quick experiment. You watch a needle pierce someone's skin. Do you feel the person's pain? Does it matter if the person's skin is white or black? For many people, race does matter, even if they don't know it. They feel more empathy when they see white skin pierced than black. This is known as the racial empathy gap. To study it, researchers at the University of Milano Bianco showed participants, all of whom were white, video clips of a needle or an eraser touching someone's skin. They measured participants' reactions through skin conductance tests, basically whether their hands got sweaty, which reflect activity in the pain matrix of the brain. If we see someone in pain, this is how it works. It triggers the same network in our brains that's activated when we are hurt. But people do not respond to the pain of others equally. In this experiment, when viewers saw white people receiving a painful stimulus, they responded more dramatically than they did for black people. This is what this whole thing is about. This is what the Trayvon Martin, this is about Eric Garner, this is what, do I need to list them all? A lot of people felt, even with Sandra Bland, people were like, she was mouthing off at the cop. So does that mean she deserved to die? This girl who was texting, which by the way is the most least conspicuous way of communicating, is texting. It's quiet. I'm sure she didn't even have the touch tone on. You probably couldn't hear it. Click, click, click. Least conspicuous. Disrupting the class? But was this not, disrupting the learning environment? Was this officer coming in, throwing her across the room, dragging her out the desk? Was that not disruptive? What texting was? I can't help but to ask the question, what if the girl who got slammed on the ground by the officer was white? And what if the officer was black? How would this situation be handled? Be totally different. That officer would have made it off the scene. First and foremost, he would have got shot on sight. But then the girl would have had the hearts of America. You know what I'm saying? She would have got all kind of scholarship money, lawyer fees paid, hospital bill paid. She'd be on a talk show the next day, getting a makeover, all kind of stuff. What if the tables were turned? I guarantee you the reaction would be totally different. People right now are like, she deserved it. Dust yourself off. Me saying that doesn't trigger something in your mind that says, wait, that's not right. As a human, that's not right. So basically, we had our debate, and I introduced this idea to her. It's not a new idea. The article was written in 2013. It's been talked about since Stokely, probably even before Stokely Carmichael or Kwame Ture. Look them up. But drop that on her, drop some more history on her. She came around to understanding what I was talking about, and she kind of felt sorry. Um, she definitely apologized for her position on it, being, naive and not, knowing what's going on, not being open to it. So, it ended up being a good conversation. It wasn't one of those things where, I mean, there was some back and forth, but in the end, it came back around to like, okay, I could see it was, for one, it was a total different respect she had for me because I wasn't going to let that slide. Not as a person who's trying to, it's more like out of my love for humanity. You know what I mean? It's like the big brother, even though she's older than me, but, she's like my mother's age. It's kind of like the big brother getting you in check. Like, hey, you don't need to be doing that. You don't need to be thinking like that. It's only going to get you, you gonna hurt yourself with that kind of thinking. And that's kind of how I did with her. A more so out of love thing where it's like, yo, I don't really, it's like, I don't want to dislike you. I like you so much as a person that I don't want this to mess this up. Let's see if we can change. And she, I don't know if it's down deep in the heart, but as far as I'm concerned, I could tell there was a shift where she's like, I never thought of it like that. You know, but there's I could go in detail on it. I'm gonna spare you at 11 minutes something, but you know, I want people to think about that, the racial empathy gap. Look at how whenever something happens, like Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Mike Brown, Eric Garner, um, there's a new guy now who got killed, drummer. I don't know the gentleman's name, but drummer who got killed for no reason and had no kind of weapon or nothing on him. Church going fellow, or even when those blacks were killed in the church, still people defending the Confederate flag. People who just didn't care about it, didn't bat an eyelash at it. Oh well, pay attention to it. It exists. Don't sweep it under the rug. Just like everything else, like they try to do. By they, I say white people and confused black people. Confuse white people too, because there's plenty of white people who are on game with it. Who understand, it's messed up. You know, I know people who school their parents. I love them. Um, but pay attention. And next time you hear somebody um, speak that kind of ignorance, she deserved it. She deserved it. Play that role. Be that big brother, that or big sister. Stepping in, not from 1984. Don't be watching them on cameras and listening to conversation. Step up and be, you know, I guess you could say, a leader. Mentally, they're going down the wrong path. Guide them to the right path. That's all. Thanks for watching.